to us, and also from the top. About the question from
and fair and double chop.
I'll make sense now.
No worries. Issue. Free. Public questions? Anyone? No.
Mine's a bit more of a request. I wasn't here for the last meeting, so I missed it, and because the minutes aren't published until quite late, I missed the fact that the meeting wasn't going to be held till this Monday. You do have a website. Can I ask that it's updated and even the Felton website for those people that maybe missed the meeting because it was changed to this Monday at that meeting? The previous agenda, or the agenda,
right,
said
yeah.
it was going to be last week.
Yeah, there was a county council elections training on last week that we attended instead.
But you know, you've got your own website and the Felton website.
In fairness, we were without a clerk for the previous meeting, and I did the minutes myself, and I work full time with my family and better things to do than type minutes in the evening. But yeah, we'll take note of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, finance item 5A.
5A, okay.
Last month I pointed out an error of £8,000 in reserves for IT costs. The error remains uncorrected in this month's submission. How can this account possibly balance and be reconciled with an apparent £8,000 error?
Okay.
Next question. Finance item 5D. Has FPC been provided with a detailed bill of costs from their current solicitor Knights and their previous solicitors SJ Laws for the £11,300 bill you're about to pay for the production of a 999-year lease for the benefit of Assura?
So can I ask the question there? Can you go back to the start of that? Have we been produced with a detailed bill, or will we be? Or
Has.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yes, we have. To answer it quickly, we have itemised per hours detailed up by the various parties working on it.
So the next part of the question is, if so, has this been circulated to councillors prior to this meeting, and can you outline where the costs have accrued?
Yes, it has been circulated to the councils prior to this meeting. Costs are on various it details it up in correspondence received. So, like for instance, when you email them, it's £45 for them to open an email based upon the hourly charges. Forwarding that on.
Can I just stop you there?
I'm just giving you a basic information.
No, I need to stop you there because you've just said that they charge you £45
yes.
if I email them.
Yes. I'm aware of your emails to them. You're not aware that I'm aware of them.
Well, obviously I know you were aware of it, but obviously that's detailed in their accounts, that's what he's telling me.
All the emails are detailed.
That particular one is in their accounts.
Dates of emails are all dated in their accounts, yes.
Right. With that charge that you just said.
I believe it's something like 6 minutes, which I think is rough. I think their charge rate is something like £450 an hour, depending on the person that's dealing with it.
Okay, but
yes, it's all detailed in it.
Bearing in mind, these are your solicitors that you've appointed at £450 an hour, is that correct?
Not appointed by myself, appointed by the parish council, yes.
No, Knights were appointed by you.
No, they weren't. I'm going to stop you right there, because you've already been answered on this multiple times.
I haven't been answered.
No, you have been answered on it multiple times. You refuse to take the answer. That is not my problem. Knights were not appointed by myself. They were appointed by the parish council. At the time, they were under the name of St James's Square. Okay?
They weren't under the name of St James's Square.
Gary, if this continues, we're going to have to close the meeting and we're going to ask you to leave.
Right. Next question. As FPC have now spent around £13,000 so far on the new surgery land legal costs, why do the expensive solicitors have no idea why Assura have still not signed the 999-year lease agreed and signed by FPC?
Where's the £13,000 come from?
The previous SJB, St James's Law, and perhaps I don't know the value of it offhand. I had a call with Assura today actually, and things are progressing. They've got tenders back. Tenders are higher than what they were hoping, and they're then looking at opening it out to a different pool of contractors to maybe reduce the potential build costs to get it within the budget, because the trust, PNC, what's the primary care, or PNC, whatever they call it, I can't remember the name, have a strict cap that they can't go over what has already been previously authorised for the project. So there's an update for you on that, so we are aware of what's happening.
But that doesn't answer why they haven't signed your lease, the 990-year one. You signed it back in November, but they haven't signed it.
Don't recall when it was signed, and they've not signed it because everything full. I think, as I said previously, was full electricity. What's the word?
We have no control over when they sign it. None of us sit on their panel, none of us sit on the
Sniggering in the back as well, Greg. Come
We'll
on.
sign it when.
You've been in this
when
chair,
they're ready to.
don't do it. It's not nice.
Not somebody.
Right, next question. Why are cemetery wages for November and December 24 being authorised 3 and 4 months later, respectively?
The timesheet went missing.
The timesheet went missing.
Yes.
For 3 or 4 months.
Yes.
All right, okay. Obviously, grass was not being cut in November and December, so what work was carried out costing just under £1,000?
Other maintenance works.
Sorry?
Other maintenance works.
Well, specifically what?
I don't have the timesheet in front of me.
Preparation for the
but
war memorial for the armistice service. Some stuff up at.
Excuse me, I can't hear. I've got hearing aids.
Preparation for the war memorial,
Yeah.
for the armistice.
Maintenance of Nelson's
Obelisk.
Obelisk.
Is that it?
Okay.
Some very interesting
The last one.
seat installation.
Recfield item 6B. The funds raised on the precept for a multi-user building that has been suggested by the Recfield committee should now be used for a shelter and composting toilet. Can you clarify exactly what is being proposed along with the associated cost for each element?
We'll get to the rec field later on in the agenda, okay?
Okay.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Move on. Minutes of the previous meeting to approve as correct for the record. The minutes held on the 10th of February. We're all happy with it? Show of hands. Cheers. Item 5A. Obviously, we're going to look at that key figure. I think I failed to tell you about it last month, that's my fault. There's an 80 figure appears in the vote cell suddenly in the.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I was doing my scribe figures.
Yeah, I think it's something that's been linked in from something else on a different page page, so let me just see where that cell appears from.
Yeah, I don't think I know what
Yeah.
that's about. Column of five, transcribe in the positive and describe.
I
I think that's like the liquid soul and then.
right, not yet.
Yeah, because that column will come to 8, so I was.
Yeah. Perfect, thank you. Other than the comic one to do, everyone happy with them? Obviously, things will look much nicer once we get scribed on the go.
Yeah, I don't think the birthday useful
Oh,
change.
yeah, we're all happy with it. Yep, yeah, we'll, 5B, update and scribe.
Right, I remember that those of you who came to that working group, that you remember when I talked about hierarchy to you, how they describe set up that would be in basically two columns, that the parish council and then the cemetery, and then under each of those you would have the income on those sides, yeah, and then in these columns you'd have the expenditure, the general reserves, and then earmark reserves, which you've gone ahead and set up. Subsequent to that though, the scribe had a little look at the accounts and suggested it's not correct and it needs to be changed. So that's very frustrating, but it means it will look like this, like my next useful drawing. So you'll have just parish council and cemetery on those sides with income and expenditure, and then you'll have a separate set of reserves accounts which will be broken down into parish council, cemetery, and then general. And the idea is that if it's all set up correctly, once you put in your box 7 for the AGAR, which is your reserves carry forward, and then you put in your precept, and then you put in all your budgets and your reserves, it should automatically pop out the general reserves at the bottom, because it will have your opening balance in your bank account, then your precept, then you brought forward reserves, and it should be the general reserves. And I'm literally navigating down all this again because I've had to reallocate all the expenses across to new cost codes.
When it makes sense, I don't like it as much as.
It will make sense.
It seemed to be clearer when it was the other way. That was very clear.
That's very clear. It means that everything's going to work properly with the cemetery, then obviously it's.
It will do, but also these reserves will probably help you populate the AGAR form better.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I'm getting ahead around that. It's working. Is that all?
At least you've got good support from.
Yeah, they are. They're very, very much available. So tomorrow's a scribe day, and I'm going to get that structured.
Confident that'll be running for April?
For April the 1st, no.
End of April?
Probably mid-April. We'll have a good day tomorrow. We'll have a clear day tomorrow. Work on that. And but we've still got the cash box. That's not been dropped. That's looking at the year report. But we will be able to use Scribe for the
The time that you guys required.
exactly. So we've got all the timing. Yeah. Is that what you said? Was it June?
June time, I think.
Yeah.
That's good, yes.
Yeah.
There's a bit more time on it. Okay. C, to approve the transfer of 910 from general reserve to directly maintenance and upkeep. Can we show hands on that? Okay. D, to authorised payments. I think we're all happy with it, break down the -1 kind of point out. And also we've got the two payments to Peter Brown. Obviously one just kind of clean timesheet, and then there's a calculation error in the timesheet.
There's two banks.
Yes, that's why there's the two payments. To explain that. So if we're happy to show hands on that. Yeah. I got a job. Good news.
Sorry, Adam, sorry. Could we just ask you to speak up a bit? I'm very difficult to
Yeah, I'll try my best.
especially with the heating going.
Is everybody okay with the temperature? Should we switch to the sewer?
Yeah, I can go off now.
Thank you.
My heart's pumping now, so I'm happy. Warm up
True,
quite,
it's always possible. There's no problem with that.
You said good news.
Good news, yeah. Our apprentice mole catcher has caught 2 moles. So I think to say thank you to Michael for that.
Ian's still not grown enough to
Yeah.
do them himself, so he put some in and asked me to look after them.
No. Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
They haven't been tampered with, have they?
No. It's always good news that. So
So you're still in the same location or you?
Moving them.
I don't hang around in the same place for too long. Suppose I get used to them then. And I was down there yet the weekend. Some size of them.
It's been ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are shovels.
So,
The city and
The drainage.
Yeah, it's a pity they're not more across where the drainage is open, isn't it?
No, it's a shame. And the drown, wasn't it?
That's good.
So
So are you alright for mole traps at the moment?
yeah, he's a good horse, doesn't set them.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
fine.
So we don't need to.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Alright.
good. Jump on to B then. Regeneration 1.
Oh,
Are you just
we
checking
haven't
it's
got
not?
on the working group, haven't we? So at the last Redfield committee meeting, I think we were all in agreement that we wanted to have, because it is a condensed time frame that we're looking at the regeneration project, that it's not a permanent fixture, is that we wanted to have it as a working group for the regeneration project itself, and then the rest of Redfield would be come back to the general parish council meetings.
Agree on the actions on I.
Yeah, so
Actually,
we
would be
agree this set up and
I
terms of
think
reference for it.
the issue is that I've got, because of my commitments, and if I am, trying to head this, then the way that our meetings are structured and things makes it really tricky, and sometimes we need to have like an impromptu meeting, or need to get people together to make decisions, and that we need to be able to do that without the, issue on the agenda and things, which is why having it as a working group has got much more potential for us to be able to get things done. It's what we're struggling with at the moment. And also, we have a Redfield committee meeting because we don't have council members on it. It is just us again in a room having another meeting. Whereas we can be doing that at parish council meetings if we've got things that need to be discussed publicly and those decisions to go through. But in the meantime, if we're having, we want to throw ideas around and things, or and whatnot, we can do it on a bit more of an impromptu, when we all get together type thing, or is something urgent that we need to go and have a look at.
Yeah.
And I would feel a lot more comfortable if we could do that. And because otherwise then we've got Parish Council, Redfield Committee and Regeneration Project, which is just all going backwards and forwards. And I think for things like the contracts and whatnot, that isn't Regeneration Project, but we all seem to be, doing it. And I that's what my, thoughts on it were.
Okay. So I think the action there would be if we can please draft that some terms of reference for us. Along the lines of just for to cover the bases that we need for the Redfield.
So do you want me to talk about the toilet, what Gary's question was there?
Is it in that one? Yeah, so go for it.
Yeah, so generally the idea of us getting the toilet put in place is so that we can increase use down at the rec and it being more open for use for a wide number of people. And then once we've done that, it means that if we are putting grant applications in for putting a building down there, it's more likely to be successful. The other thing was that when we did the original building design, when we were going for the Youth Investment Fund, we were looking at a Jack and Jill arrangement to allow permanent public access from the back of the building into public toilets, whilst having access as well from the inside. There was lots of safeguarding issues with that and things, and I think we were all coming to the conclusion that we were going to need a separate toilet down there to a building if it was going to be used in the way that we wanted to. Although it isn't technically within the remit of the multi-use building, it is supporting the development of it, and I think that it is supporting the regeneration of the rec field area, and that was the argument for it. I don't have the capacity at the moment, after what happened previously, to be going for big grants, which is going to be what the building would be. I'm not there at the moment, and we don't have anybody on here that has got the stamina to do it right now. We need more information and we need more support behind it, and that was our thinking behind putting the toilet down there now.
I think there's a lot of certain need for a toilet.
Without a doubt.
Everyone we speak to that either uses or wants to use the rec field more always would nice to have it.
Can I just say, but I mean, there's two elements to it, isn't there?
2 seconds.
Yeah.
Now you can. Okay.
There's two elements to it, isn't it? There's a toilet you were talking about in the rec field committee, the last meeting you had, and there's the shelters. So there's two sums of money you're talking about, which are quite substantial.
So the shelter's not coming out of the multi-use building.
So how's that being paid for?
So that was the money
at
that
the last
Trevor
meeting
Thorne,
that Trevor Thorne has pledged money for it.
£5,000.
yes.
But it's going to cost more than £5,000, is it not?
Is it?
Well,
I'm
when
sure
you asked us the question, when it was first raised about 2 meetings ago, you were talking about £20,000. Then at the last, then the last figure I heard was £7,000 at your last meeting.
Yeah.
So that's at least £2,000.
which we're continually to value engineering and believe we've got.
I mean, all I'm trying to establish.
Right, so the money for the shelter, which was in the play area, it's not on the rest of the field, it's a small shelter on the play area, we have got covered, and we've managed to work with it to make sure that that is going to be within budget. It is not coming out of any reserves that were put in place for a multi-use building, which would be outside of the play area on the rec field.
Right.
However, what our thoughts are at the moment is, because that little pot of money that we've got towards a building doesn't even scratch the surface of the iceberg if we're thinking about putting a building down there, but we could cover a toilet with it, and that would then support the point of putting a building down there at a later date.
Well, you'll be using up all your funds that you've actually got for the multi-user building. I'm just trying to clarify what's being proposed.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think you quoted £13,000, is that correct?
Yeah, so at the moment, we haven't got mains water access down there.
2 seconds, which we also did discuss that the toilet company said there are different grant options that you can look to as well. So we are looking at other options to cover some of that cost.
I think all I'm illustrating is that I don't have any problem with what you're talking about, but why don't you produce a costing then as to where you see the funds coming from, so it's clear. At the minute, it's you're saying possible grant funding, etc.
Yeah.
But you need to produce a plan that shows that that is what your costing is based on. At the minute, you've got a budget that you set every year, and at the minute it's £14,000 for a multi-user building.
With all due respect, we discussed that at the last meeting, the cost of the thing was 13,000. We're not even got to a stage where we're then going to talk about, right, we said we'll look at grant options as well. Like, give us a chance to look at that stuff, come on.
Most projects start on a costing basis.
Yeah.
So
we've identified a suitable product, we've got a cost for it. Now we're going to look down the lines of how do we fund that? Do we fund that fully by ourselves, or do we fund that partially by ourselves and partially by a grant? If we don't know what cost a toilet is, how do we come up with what we want? Right? We've identified an item, we're now identifying where the money's coming from.
And you need so you need to document it so that people can actually see what you're talking about. Because at the minute
it's documented. The 164 compost toilet installation 3.5. Okay, 11,995 total list. Rota for maintenance will be required. We'll look up the timer lock, and then the other ones items we've talked about grants. We'll look at Councillor Wharton suggested looking at the NCC for grants to help with the eco toilet. The chair said also that the eco toilet company will send a link for funding options as well. It's been discussed.
Yeah.
We're looking at it. All right. If you want
that's all within the minutes. I'm saying, why don't you produce proper project documents? It's a project. Produce a document for it.
That's your opinion.
Well, all right. Don't accept what the norm is.
It's just your opinion.
Correct.
When it gets done, and when we go and get our quotes, and when it goes all out to tender, all of these documents and contracts with whoever installs it will be in place. But it's just your opinion that it should have been done before now, and it hasn't been.
I didn't say before. Did I say before now?
Why?
I've just said, I'm making a suggestion to actually make the job better for you.
We won't interrupt each other. We'll have a chat, but we won't interrupt. Right? When the project goes ahead, all of the rules, as we well know, with the tenders and the contracts, will have to be followed. At the moment, it's in the minutes. The costings of it's there. What more do you want?
Well, wants me to spend even less time with my kids, get even less sleep, and produce a little document of things for them to kind of complain that I haven't done a good enough job is the answer to it.
Okay.
You're choosing to.
Sorry.
Well, whatever.
Gary, we're going round in circles on here, okay?
You
want us
Yeah,
to just...
Okay, I don't have anything else.
We're happy enough we're being transparent. We've shown you what we believe the cost will be. We're going to look at funding options, whether that's ourselves or through grants. But we have identified that we feel there is a need for the toilet, and if we have to partially fund or fully fund, we have the options there for it. Okay. So, tree survey. I don't have costs for a tree survey yet, but
What did that last one cost? Wasn't huge, was it?
not a great deal, but I'll endeavour to get it for the next meeting. I have spoken to a couple of contractors with regards to the fence, and hopefully one this week to then get that finalised as well.
Is this just the back of the plate?
Yeah, the back of the plate one. Grant applications, guessing we've been loaning applications. Mother resurfacing.
Hey!
Good news. I just couldn't get the heck with that as well.
Be a good idea.
Football pitch surface. Guess a bit of that's covered with moles anyway, so we're getting that. I think we could probably do a lot to bash them down again, or
Because whatever's going on by the point of what's that date of first know?
I don't know yet. While
After Easter, isn't it?
Yeah.
sometimes.
Because if they're not getting bashed down, the problem is they get compacted down.
Yeah,
and then
that's it.
gets
Yeah.
worse.
There's a few that I've noticed around where, like, I think the entrance to the play park are round where you know in the middle between Nov
We
and
might go
Dec.
get some topsoil.
Looks pretty decent stuff, to be fair.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
I'm more than happy to whip round the field before the mowing starts to make sure it's still rate roll again.
no, probably be good. Just tie it in so Michael, so you don't holiday any traps.
Well, that'd be,
I'll
yes,
go
we'll
with
have to remember to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe when you have a big ruler, we can even try rolling, once we get the stuff spread, try rolling and see if we can compact some of the lumps and bumps.
Yeah, well actually, what I used last time was a gate. I just dragged the gate on the field behind the car and it works wonderfully. So I sent you the video with the pheasant running around after us for about 45 minutes. There was a pheasant running around after the back of the car. It was very odd. And I had to take a video of it because nobody would believe it happened.
Was it trying to get the worms that were coming up from
It was,
No, it was
it
just
was racing.
It was
It
racing.
was racing, yeah.
It was doing pretty bad.
But it was all, like, it was deliberately going all over the field and it was following us, yeah. It was really cool. I'll send you the video, it's great. But actually, it worked out a really good way, because leveling bars look very like a gate. So, it probably looked a bit odd, but...
I was just thinking like a big steamroller thing.
Well, I've got some rollers, so if I think it's necessary, if I think it would help at all, I can do that. But the slight issue is rolling it doesn't help the drainage.
No, it doesn't help.
But it's not a ridiculously heavy roller, so it's certainly worth a go.
Okay, we could do with a little army of people with forks.
Yes,
Okay,
but I think before the good weather comes, it would probably be a good idea to have like a working party there, filling in holes, and because it'll, if someone trips down a hole or some running full belt and ends up in a hole, then they can have all sorts of damage. So maybe we can organise a Saturday morning.
Well, in fairness, then it starts while running open.
No, there you go.
No, that sounds good. Felton and Flow. Do you want to give me an update on that since you've spoken to?
So, don't think you mind sharing this. So I chatted with them today, just to chase them because I sent a few emails and haven't had a reply. So he's coming up for a family meeting and would like to meet representatives of the parish council just to put faces to names and things. And he's given me a few dates and times for that. Further to the email below, I've explained that Becca will need to apply for plan permission in order to put up the yurt without contravening any rules relating to planning consent. I have no objection to her doing this, provided that she's in full knowledge that at some point I, or whoever I bequeath this land to, may wish to develop the plot for housing or other uses, should that fit with any local or neighbourhood plans. Further explaining that Becca would only be looking to cover her costs and that any income above costs from private rentals would then go back into community projects. My preference being to support the youth or old age activities. On this basis, I'm also willing to waive any additional ground rentals and maintain the capital rent, provided the sections of the land are still used for allotments, as the whole plot, including hedges, drainage, access, control are maintained. I would still like to reserve the right to notify and notify increase to the rental agreement should the plot not be used as they intended, or if that of the year becomes more of a significant income generator. Now, what he means by that was he used the word of, he used the phrase of becoming a person's ability to make easy money. So what he meant by that question was, if they're paying a peppercorn rent to use the land, but then they're earning a full-time wage of it, then he would make but he said, I mentioned specifically the temporary tent going up in time for the stuff that's happening in Cllr 45. He said, sounds like a great idea. He said, no objection.
Sounds like a very fair.
Really nice guy. Really nice guy. But he's coming up, he's looking forward to meeting us, and he's coming up at the end of this month.
So he's English.
Aye.
Is that not the book fair thing anyway?
I think it is. I think it is. It'd be
It'd be
handy.
nice to see
Yeah.
the thing of that Jonathan's
Can we
pretty
get
good up there.
hedges and tidy done before we?
It looks great.
It's
No,
finished,
not
right?
yet.
It's really good.
Brilliant. I know that the plot bit did a hand nosy at that, but the whole shebang is
The
being.
only bit that looks bad down there is that bit of Henry's fence, to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be nice to tidy that up a bit. Probably got a gate line somewhere.
You might have gates on the posts issue.
Okay, that's good enough.
So there's good.
Nice.
I think you should be notified.
No, because the meeting, the phone call was at 5 p.m.
Right. Cool stuff.
PE Day, 80th anniversary. Do we have any ideas or?
The coronation party that we held, that I held at the village hall was great. So if there's any legs in having a village get together, more than happy to organise one. But I have to check with my social secretary. Make sure we're not doing other things.
What's the weather looking like up there?
It's on the 8th of May, which is Thursday, so probably I guess would have to be the weekend before or after, wouldn't it?
Are they doing a sort of 4-day weekend celebration afterwards?
Huh?
I think that's what I read somewhere, that people were doing a
Oh, right, so that's probably why.
weekend.
Can't even guarantee anything right now because I haven't got a clue what I'm doing for the next couple of months. But if it's felt that we should be doing something for the village up here, and the village hall is free, I'm more than happy to organise it.
The village will need to be involved, but obviously don't want the whole running of the whole event. So they're happy to be a partner with us if we want to use this as a venue.
So we could be a collaboration with the support of.
Well, I wonder whether we could do raising money for the potential toilet.
Yeah.
If we're a few grand less, we could.
Celebrate VA Day and pay for a bog.
Whatever not.
Getting the community together and having a rattle look at there is, it's not brazen in any way. I think it's a good idea.
Right.
And if we, the last time we had like a bit of a bring and share thing. We had a barbecue as well, and we had a bar in the car park, and it was great.
But no, it worked out well.
It was
Days generally alright.
Because the sun was in the sky.
Aye.
It would have been a total disaster. Well, I mean, that's why we had it here, because if it's raining, we could come inside. But it's worth celebrating,
Definitely.
And maybe even a smaller celebration for VJ Day as well. On the Thursday, we'll have the war memorial and everything all planted up with its new plants. And
So do we do-
they're looking really smart. So
do
they
we
could
do
be a,
something there instead?
well, I don't know whether anybody's free on Thursday during the day, it's Albion work.
Do we know, are the Cubs or Scouts doing anything? Because,
I bet they are.
Or school, could we invite schools?
well, yeah, if, it would be nice if they were thinking about doing a parade or anything. I'll ask Claire, and then we could see if we can incorporate to get as many people involved now as possible.
So is it the sort of thing you put forgive my ignorance here, is it the sort of thing you put another wreath on the memorial? Or not really?
We could, I don't see why we couldn't. It's to commemorate the end of hostilities, isn't it, in Europe? Please
I think
remember
it's,
it.
but it's more a
Is
celebration.
it more Victoria sponge cakes and stuff?
I think,
Yeah.
bunting.
Certainly the British Legion will
No.
produce some little things to.
If you're
mark
going to get new
those.
ones, if you're going to get the old stuff, what's your...
The old stuff's not here. The old stuff's on the Tesco wagon.
We put them down the street with the sign. Yeah.
Seems
They've got
daily.
signs that you can put on the
It says it's...
some bunting and posters and things that you can purchase from the website.
I wonder whether the WI would want to get involved in that.
I don't know, but ask them.
But that's what I'm thinking, is if we could get as many different, everyone's as possible involved.
Well, any hands, light work and all that.
Could we invest in some of the lamppost signs that the British Legion have? reducing, because we're gonna have to get those ordered and sorted and paid for.
Any idea how much they are?
Yeah.
You got that?
Large flag is 1999.
Oh.
Bunting is 12.99. It just goes on in the showing you different types of signs like you can get there. So I guess you can cost up how much. Yeah. Circulate a list if you want.
So it's effectively, it's a fibre a sign, isn't it? For the lamppost ones.
Just it looks like a lot of
But
landfill.
then there's multi.
There's multi-packs as well that you can do. Yeah.
How long are they?
Certainly if we're going to do something, you know.
I mean, even if we went for 2 packs of 4 and just
In
have
fairness,
them.
you can buy 10
Large
for
flag, the
47.
large flag is 5 by 3 foot, 1999. The VA bunting is 5 events,
It's not very long.
but you get 15 of those for 12.99. The lamppost signs, you get packs of 10 and 25 or 50. Buy multi-packs of all 3.
Wonder who the first person to do 80 through the villages want to see that sign.
Maybe we'll go for the others with the blue one.
So do you just
Put that one in
budget
first.
Just say, spend 200 quid on it?
I don't even think it would need that amount of money.
I think we need a bit of communication with
I think we-
the parties first.
Well, can we?
Well, I think we could decide on the
We've
signs
got a long way to
ourselves.
I think if we,
No, we've got less than 2
you know,
months.
because you also need, and no,
And they'll go. We need to
there's
get
a
them
warning when you
organised.
click on it already as well.
Yeah.
So is it worth it just approving a budget
I
of
think if we-
£600 and have somebody look at it?
I'm happy enough with that as well, we approve it, say it's £200 for bunting or badges for the lampposts,
For a selection.
for a selection, if we can distribute, I don't know if you want to have a look at it and have a look at it and you can distribute it around people and see this is what we're happy with.
Yeah.
Okay, so approve £200.
It would be nice if we could involve the school going down though and actually celebrating it on the day down at the War Memorial or doing something.
Doing something on the bridge.
Yeah.
I'll
get in
get
touch with school for that, wouldn't we?
Do you want to do that or do you want me to do that?
When you've got children
Yeah,
there.
I'll do it.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking
I can
I'll
do it from
message.
the school perspective.
No,
but-
I'll message school and the scouting group.
I just think it would be really nice to mark
Maybe
the
just
actual
get it
date.
out first.
Sorry?
You can get all contact. You know what you don't. Doesn't mean it's just a part of this.
Do you want us to do that?
That's the big-
Yeah, just get our heads together and have a chat.
You've not got a diary on your phone?
Oh, come on, you need that.
As it's synced.
Well, I've got a diary on my phone, but I've
Doesn't say-
never used it.
It's
Oh
not,
no, you
it's
have
not
to.
in the phone diary,
Yeah, it's in
it
the
doesn't
phone
exist.
diary. Richard has is synced.
Do you know I really pay people to do that?
Sorry?
I've got 2 people on the table who are diary. They just don't tell me anything about it. It's very good at double
Get
booking.
that in. In fairness, I was impressed that I was in the book for the one that didn't turn up from MOT.
But I mean, other than that, the rec field is a good place for people to congregate, and you can do like sports day type things for kids. It wouldn't take a great deal organising.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the village hall would be great for people to congregate. Is there like do you fly a flag for it?
There's a VA.
Was it-
There's a flag.
Yeah.
So
But it would
presumably,
would be nice, what we could do is if we could get a scout session that's doing the reverse of what it does on Memorial Day,
You know, to come up.
and they could come up from Memorial up to the village hall and then
Yeah.
do that.
Pop and crisps.
Pop and crisps.
Great idea, Jen.
to be never did at the end.
Victoria Sponge Cake. Already organised, isn't it?
Right.
B.
So do we put something out on like a on the Facebook page or something
We
like
need
that?
to see what lots of plans to sort
Yeah.
first.
See if we can get something sorted, because like recheck halls, the council, that lot are want them to participate as well, and then get something out as soon as we can. See that you're free.
I'll make that. On a Saturday there's a half chance.
Did someone, if any groups wish to contribute to the North East Field Remembrance Software?
I think it would be nicer to do it here than at Gateshead, don't we?
Yeah, if we do something here to commemorate it, then I think that kind of covered it in one then. So
We
yeah.
could even have a couple of the signs put on planters or something. You know, because there's some nice square planters around the village and various places put some of those up somewhere.
Agree. Number 9, committee and working groups. I feel like we can't remember if there's been any.
Which I think
You just jumped on that book there, didn't you?
jumped on it. Well, I think we've
I think
covered
that's
most
just
of the
gonna,
things that I think we've covered throughout the meeting everything that was discussed and things, but the main thing would be for us to, as I said, separate it out to streamline things. But yeah, as we've already discussed with everything with regard to Cllr Committee. With regards to the biodiversity and climate change, which we need to see if we can sort this out. I had a chat with Richard Evans earlier this week. At the moment, it looks like he is potentially staying in Felton for the foreseeable. When I say the foreseeable, he's talking about the rest of the time we might be living. And he
Not
did.
living there then.
It doesn't look like it, no. I think it's more likely that he's going to be staying. And I did ask him if he would be interested in getting back involved, because he was chair of the Biodiversity and Climate Change Committee, and he was the driving force, really with myself, for getting that up and going. And most of my focus from that went on the Cllr River Action Group. And it's not something that I have got the capacity to be chairing at the moment. Richard, when I started talking about Parish Council, I don't think he's in a position to come back as a councillor at this point. However, he's still very much interested in his areas of interest, which is the biodiversity and climate change. Obviously, he would have to be then a non-councillor member of it and things, but I think he would be interested in it again, and he does have quite a good understanding and basis for all that. But he did say, "Do you think they'd have me back?"
Yes.
So yeah, I can push that a little bit more if everybody's happy with it.
Campaign to try and get others as well.
Yeah.
But just to
It'd be good to get a full compliment, wouldn't it?
It would
For
be,
you,
because it's yeah.
Felton Cat, any of the Felton Cat might be interested.
Just to go back to previous
Can we tempt you?
Oh.
So I think.
Let me have a think on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think from everyone seeing Mike's report, and he's can see that he's got a really good basis of understanding and scientific grounding that could potentially be in support of this. And
What sort of things are involved?
well, I mean, the main things is obviously when there are issues with the village that need addressing. Is that you just need an understanding behind it and whatnot. I mean, the parish council exists to represent the parish, so obviously the concerns that that you'll be a partner expressed and everything, it would mean that we would then have more official standing when discussing those and going to county over them. From what we've done, we had quite a big involvement of setting up a river action group. I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff that they've been doing, and that's been really good. And then obviously when there's anything to do with biodiversity within the village, we've worked with the county management and things, is communicating with them. But we really set it up with a blank slate, and we got off to a good start and things. And then of course Richard left us, and it's not been something that I've managed to continue momentum going with everything else. Despite I was, but it just went on to Cricket River Action Group. But really, it's about us having bodies on it and having enough people to be able to vote on things and have a clout with things, and I think we definitely show potential for that. We've also got 3 empty seats around this table at the moment.
I'm not keen on committees. I'm retired.
None of us are.
I've had enough of committees when I was working. So
But we haven't sold it to you tonight.
I don't know.
Don't blame me.
I don't mind helping out in some
Yeah.
way, but I don't want on a committee, thank you. No, sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. We'll keep that in mind then.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get to planning in a minute and then we can.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Joe. It was a nice invite anyway. Thank you.
You're the member of the
I
bylaw.
know, we're doing it. We're doing it.
Number
The panels will be on by.
Yeah, I've got a green light for the 10th of Hay.
Right, well, I'll put it in for day and evening, so we'll have a party for kids and.
Yep.
So what
And
we
then
on
do VA Day celebration. Which date? The
10th of May.
Saturday the 10th of May.
Number 10, parish representation at meetings.
The village halls we're talking about having some sort of joint venture with other people that wanted to do it. VA Day, they're also working towards the 100th year celebrations of the hall being in situ, which will be next year, and holding a number of events such as the disco and bell tour.
I did see that post there.
It's a daytime disco for oldies that can't be out till after 8 o'clock at night. And there's a number of concerts and various things that are holding coming up. But they're doing a lot of local history, looking back at the old records. So they've gone to the WI ones at the moment, because they were one of the founding groups in the village hall. So I said there probably would be parish council minute books with everything about the hall as well. At one point the WI wanted to call it, what was it? Felton Community and WI Hall. Catchy little title, you can see it didn't quite make it. So the solar panels we are hoping will be put up on the roof the week beginning the 14th of April. So that will be a move forward there, and we're looking to get rid of all the gas heaters so that it's going totally clean, green and electric.
What they were going to air source?
No,
Yeah.
it's not feasible for the size of the building. So they'll be just powered by the panels effectively. The kitchen's gone all electric, they've got rid of the gas out of the kitchen. We're looking to have all the doors on the external doors all replaced. I'm busy grant funding, looking for grants for that, because the ones, certainly at the main door, the bottom's just falling apart. They're not great and they're not very well insulated, so in order to make this a really warm space, a good hub if we need to, if we have storms and power off and things like that. We just want to make it as insulated and as good as we can, and toilet's done, kitchen done, doors now, and then no doubt we'll roll from there somewhere else. So,
Good. So it's all taking shape. Sorry.
Right.
There was a Teams meeting called with a bazillion other parish councils, town councils, clerks, councillors for election. The gist of it is there's deadlines that we're all aware of that we need to, if you wish to continue on in this, obviously.
I mean, obviously, I think it's attending, so
Yeah.
what's the outline of it?
The
I've seen them,
is,
so
Yeah, so
just in general, just
you are
comfort
legally
me.
obliged to run for council again in the elections.
Right.
And you have to have your application to Jackie by the 24th, so she can take it in
Yeah.
to have it
and it
checked.
needs to be in 24th Jacqueline, fully filled out properly.
This month.
And then it will go to, this
Yes.
month, and it will go to County Council to
For
check
final
for final
stamping.
proper stamping, and then on the, I think the official deadline is the 2nd of April.
Yes,
Is what-
yes.
So that's just for
Yes,
existing
second
councils.
of April deadline.
Or
For
anybody that
any,
wishes to
or anybody
participate.
that wishes to stand for
We
it
need,
during
so
any potential election. At the moment, if we all stood, there would be what is it called? It's a
Uncontested.
uncontested election.
Yeah.
Should then the numbers of people that apply to county council go up to 11, there
It
would
would
be
be
then a
contested.
contested election.
And it would cost us a lot more.
Should not all of us, we need a minimum of 4
Yes,
to
we need to be
coordinate. So
coordinated.
if less than 4 stand, it would then trigger a further election in 31 days following that election, which will incur administration costs from county council, and should therefore you still be on query,
You get another,
you get another chance at it, and then county council will step in and help a bit more, but it will just be a continuation of
however,
administration
it'll have a
costs.
little continued cost to the parish
Yeah.
and depletion of the precept.
So get your forms in, yeah? Is that what you're saying?
Don't feel pressure to do so.
You're not legally bound.
That's a joke.
Well, the election's not formally announced on 20th anyway. So.
Yeah.
But how
So
do
the
we
election's
know?
not formally announced till the 20th of this month, but the forms have got to be in by the 24th.
no, well,
Oh,
we've
yeah.
got an appointment to have them collectively checked
Right, got you. Right.
on the
You don't have to
24th.
do that.
Well,
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah, I've booked a slot so that can take them in, and then you've got a chance to correct them and resubmit them
Yeah.
before the deadline.
Well, all right.
because the second is the deadline.
When do we find out how many people have actually, because generally, if 11 people run, which I know isn't going to happen, I'm very happy to withdraw my application.
Aye,
You,
You can't,
the issue is we can't,
We
because
can't,
you'd
we
be
can't.
past the deadline in the
Yeah.
week. I don't believe you can,
You can, but you're still on the ballot paper.
You're still-
yeah, so it is still, yeah.
Right.
and you still could therefore be elected. And would be object. No.
That's a withdrawal, you can be voted for.
Yeah, then, no, there's a date you have to
There's a
withdraw
date if you-
before,
if
and
you're
if you
not-
don't withdraw before the date, you're still eligible for election, even if you then
And
have
you would
said
be
you want
obliged
to
to take your
withdraw.
seat to
Yeah.
then
Withdraw.
resign and withdraw from your seat after.
Imagine being an accidental parish council.
I think you can resign after you've got it.
So yeah, it was good. It was a very insightful call, to be honest.
I like the way we kept getting other people's conversations coming back out there,
But Ross just when you have like, I don't know, there was 70 plus people on it. When you have that many people, not everyone's going to mute when they should be.
And then he said yes,
But
when I
then-
said, do you want a cup of tea?
County councillor Thorne,
On holiday.
he's on
so
holiday, yeah. Police,
I've dropped off the radar again.
yeah.
Keep tabs and we'll be in touch and nobody's in touch. I'll keep chasing.
So are we continually chasing them and not getting? Is it worth going a bit higher up?
Well, 'cause I had someone on designated and he went off and sick, and then he came back and said it was handed over to the colleague who would be in touch, and they weren't in touch, so I've chased again and then he responded.
Right. So we still don't know if they ever called the street.
They didn't.
My missus reckoned it was me.
Driving like a London.
Hey, no, I'm just going to sleepwalking now.
Well, the question is, do you sleep in the night?
He does.
It could be, it could be.
I've been on a bike trip with him. He does now as well.
What you try about 1.2
Traumatised for life.
Number 13, correspondence received. Happy to pass on that. I skipped a good one though. Mazars.
Posted today.
Yeah, so that's all good, and we've also since received the customer feedback form. Which, I don't know if you want to we quickly run through that as well.
Yep.
How satisfied are you with the overall experience of Forest Mazars LLP during the audit for the year ending 31st March 2024? Please score between 0 and 10, 0 being very unsatisfied and 10 being satisfied.
I'll give you 10 for everything.
Well,
No,
do
you're
you
looking for improvement.
want to know the invoice first? Before you...
Talk about the correspondence. Good news for change.
Yeah, so we are currently looking at... Okay. Do you have a handy Jacqueline, or can I find it?
300 and something.
Yeah, it is £315 plus VAT. So
Really good.
I'm happy enough with that.
So for cost efficiency from 3 and 10.
Are we happy with 10 for number 1?
Not many of us were actually involved with that as a document.
Okay. How satisfied with the quality of information sent to you with the annual governance and accountable return? I think it's fairly new. They've given some comments again, but we'll...
It's all been self-explanatory,
Yeah.
isn't it? And being very specific with what they've requested.
Fine. If the firm contacts you with a request for further information or queries in relation to the audit after your initial submission, how satisfied were you with the timeliness of the request for information query?
Quite clear when
They were quick.
They were
They were quick. They came back to us really quickly, didn't they?
and the clarity of the information requested was clear as well.
Yes.
If the matters were brought to your attention on the completion of the audit in section 3 of the annual governance accountable return, how satisfied are you with matters raised? Were helpful and easy to understand? I think everything seems fairly clear from them. Happy with 10 there. If you were contacted by the audit team with general information or assistance, how satisfied were you with the outcome? Again, they've been very
I was going
helpful.
to say they're very clear on that.
Yeah, Mazars seem to just be a bit clearer than previous. Please provide any further information, for example, you would have scored. Yeah, so that's if we put 5 below for above.
How did it feel when you caught them all? First one.
Yeah, I'll fix that later. So I think that's just well done everyone. We've got good news there. NCC Open Spaces
Have we done it?
No,
No,
I haven't done it.
I may have missed that one. Do you rough idea what that one was? Is it something we need to fill out?
Yes, it's a survey of open spaces, so that there can be one register with protected open spaces.
Yeah,
The purposes of keeping them green space, active exercise spaces and things like that.
Do you email me too much, Jacqueline? Is that right? Just see them.
The rest of us all over those.
Yeah, it's set on the 10th of Feb. Consultation finishes on the 14th of March. This weekend, is it? Yeah.
You did that.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? You can go out, guys.
Do you read it? I found it. Have you got it?
Yeah, no, I think.
So is that just pointing out that we've got the wreck, or is it, or they wanting to see like the bit of grass on the overall riverside, that sort of stuff?
It's the things that belong to us.
Right.
That cuts out a few spaces around the lake, because there are a lot of them are in NCC's custodianship, so they will presumably be doing their own for that.
and ramp as well.
The triple side,
And then over the next couple of days, putting some information over to Jacqueline, so she can complete the survey.
Do you want me to do that?
Yeah.
Please.
Or if we can get information over
Do
tomorrow.
you not do your own individual service then?
Or is it
Is it not
individuals?
from councillor? No, or is it from
No,
Parish?
I just
It's
think
to me, yeah.
Yeah.
all of us. So we do it as a council response.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
it's just, it seemed a short survey, but
on behalf of the organisation.
Okay, okay.
It's a really, 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 really short.
Yeah, it is. It's really short. It is really short.
4 questions.
Yeah.
Thinking about the assessment document as a whole, do you think it's clearly structured and easy to use? The purpose and scope of the assessment is it clear? Do you agree with the overall methodology and approach set out in section 2? Do you agree that the proposed standards for open spaces are appropriate and justified? Yes or no? Sign, send.
But you need to read the assessment.
Well, probably, yeah, I'm sure.
yeah, so in there, they have on the interactive map, they recognise the rec field, play park, the Mugger, school, various bits of green space at the top of the village and on the opposite the village hall there, the bit down in between Dean Close and Parkview, the oval as amenity green space. They don't have down at Riverside, strangely, so that might be one that we want to comment and say what that needs to be added.
I thought it was just things that were in our ownership, not NCC's.
But no, yeah, that's it. It's, that's the stuff that they've shown in the interactive map. Oh. So it was just, they break it down on the map of these are different things as well, anyway. Which they've already got some of them recognised, it's just maybe,
But I think the ramp being a green
Like,
green
yeah.
space asset that we've got.
yeah, they've got the allotments on Rec Lane, the allotments up at,
The garages.
yeah, the garages, they class it as Barnes Road allotments, mind you.
Yeah. That was the back of the party.
Other than that, I don't think there's a lot of public owned green space. Say, we've got the Riverside bit and that's about it that's missing.
240 pages.
And the report.
What about the riding field? I know that's private property and stuff that is access to the footpath along the river.
It doesn't, it's not marked as an open space site.
Right.
It's like because of the private ownership.
Are they just talking about areas for sport?
No,
No, it's open
Okay,
green
it's like
space that you
just-
can just go and sit and have a picnic if you want to.
you know, that bit's up here. the space.
So just you talking footpaths. Can you email me who I need to email at the normal council about a footpath issue? Is the footpath officer?
Have you submitted anything through the Fix My Street app?
It's, well, I don't know if they do, it's not a street, it's a footpath. You know, as you come under the underpass, if you do the Rhinefield loop,
Yeah.
and you go down the farm, you come under the underpass, you're supposed to go up by the side of the underpass to follow the footpath rather than go up the farmer's road, that track. You can't get up there at the moment because trees have fallen down and blocked it. So that's actually a public footpath that you're supposed to use, but you can't. I just wanted to report it. You just reminded me by saying the footpaths. But I
I
know
can't
there is
think who the footpath officer's name is at the moment, but I've got it at home.
It's not, and that has been years that has
Still
been
Tony
on.
Dosh,
if you just email, I'm happy to
I'll
do that.
find it,
Yes.
But the path they're talking about, where it goes up the hillside and along, there was road works and all sorts of things when they were doing exploration for the duelling, that they really screwed up all of that bit, so everybody's just walked up the farmer's road since, to be honest.
It's only since the last storm, because we tend to use the dogs to try and stick to it, because Anne refuses to try and walk illegal. But we just can't, so it tries with mine, we just can't do it. So.
Yeah, I know, I ended up in some horrible mud going up the side of the path and along, because they just ploughed up the whole bit of field that the footpath
No, so
was on.
as you come down past the farmer's thing, you go under the underpass, don't you?
Yeah.
And straight to the underpass, you're supposed to turn right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about like the little triangle?
Yeah, so you come under the underpass, yeah, so
You come under the mud. You come under the mud.
What, as if you're coming from the farm?
As though you're coming from the farm.
So you've just passed the pigs on
Yes,
your right,
yeah.
you go down the hill, you go under underpass, and you make to turn immediately right.
Yes.
So go up the hill and
Yeah.
then
Off
along.
civil course, no.
That's what you're supposed to do, but right at the top you can't anymore.
No, I wondered why it took this thing as kids so long the other day.
That's the official footpath.
Yeah.
So,
I did bump into, because I lived down, I used the Groves footpath a lot, walking
Yeah.
the dog. And before Christmas I bumped into somebody from the council inspecting the bridges down there. And
The little white bridge and the...
yeah, and the two small bridges
Yeah,
after the bench, they were okay, but the white bridge, he said, you know, it's not safe, they're going to have to do some work for it. And at the same time, I mentioned after the last storm, when you go through the white bridge and then you go through a field and there's a dog crow where you enter woods, there's a branch come down from one of the trees there right across. So I mentioned that to him and he said he was going to mention it to the footpath officer, but nothing's happened since.
I think they mention it, they get on the work list and then it just gets forgotten
I
about.
don't know how long the work list is and what the priority is.
if you haven't still got my email, I know Jackie's got it, she can send it to you.
I've got Anne's WhatsApp, so I'll just put it through one way or another.
Great. I'm on Fix My Street and I've just tried to tap on it there. And it says this area is not under the responsibility of Northern County Council, therefore we're unable to accept this report in this area.
No, that's why I say it's not Fix My Street,
Yeah.
so it's a footpath, that's why there's a footpath officer for footpaths.
But it's got the footpath put on there. Like it's on the map, so it's in the right spot, but yeah, so that Fix My Street will not work.
No.
I've just got something from Fix My Street. A month ago you reported a problem. This was the third time in a row I've reported a problem. Is it you fix, not fix, or don't know? They still haven't done it. They just come through tonight at 7:30.
Good news, there's not a bit of appears in the Victoria Terrace.
Is that from the house that's getting renovated or is it actual?
I don't think that's the council. I think it's
Somebody saw
which was definitely council, because I thought it was just utilities.
Well, I saw council vans there,
Right.
and the council work was there, and I just presumed that was there.
It looks a neat job. And
Which means it probably isn't the council.
No.
We trip on
it does
it's the council.
look very
Black,
sort of
shiny.
specific, like trenchy or whatever.
I think
if there's
it'd
been
be
utilities
like
in it,
that.
so-
I think it might be for the renovation.
just
but-
Because nobody will claim responsibility for that bit,
Aye.
and I'm still trying to get them to agree that we can take it on or
Do you
do
think-
something about it.
I think it might be Tony Derbyshire,
Yeah.
footpaths officer,
Do we think we should have a chat with
or David
communication?
Brooks.
Sorry, what's that?
Tony Derbyshire or David Brooks.
Okay.
Just have a look at
Transfer, could find it before.
That was when I was fighting with council.
Right.
I was just looking at the same similar thing.
Felton First and Fairs, commission requested to quote yet.
That's what I'm preparing.
Okay, obviously Anne and John have declared an interest here. I assume nobody has an objection to the fair going ahead. Okay, we show hands on that. And you can mark it dated. No,
That fair.
Felton Fair, yeah, so,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just happy that that goes ahead. Felton Can Bulletin. I don't know.
Were they the 3 sites that he
No,
was supposed to
yeah.
put the tent on?
The bulletin's what they're up to at the moment, but the request for places to put the gazebo.
There's only number 2 we've got access of, the rest are on campus.
Oh, right, yeah, so the highways and the doctor's surgery, I just kind of more think
What's
like,
wrong with, why don't we do it on the bridge anymore? I don't, because it's always.
Because he thinks it's the same people all the time down there,
I
and
think
he
there's more-
wants
I
to
think
see
you-
get a new audience. So what I understand anyway,
I don't think you'll,
I think he'll end up there and there'll be nobody.
Nobody,
There's
yeah.
no people.
because you
it's
get
not what
people that are
all
visiting
people
the
are
running
rich.
foxes and
Mm.
stuff like that might go and have a nosy,
Yeah.
or you'd be better at the village hall or near the gallery or
Was
something.
it actually
or-
addressed from Tony?
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is if they can set up at the repair cafe, like see,
Yeah.
because there's already people
There's
there.
lots of people
And
going
the
there.
problem is that it's not where it is that's the issue. I don't think.
No.
I mean, the time that I went, took the kids down, they did have a lovely time and everything, but that was doing the river fly testing and stuff. It was from Tony, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'll have a chat with Tony because I think,
Yeah, I don't think
It would be
location's an
better.
issue,
yeah,
to be honest. And yeah, we only control one of those spaces.
Number 2.
MPA councillors, I think they issued 2. Okay. Regeneration investment teams and news bulletin.
There was also one that came round from the village hall that missed the list, but was in before. It didn't. It came on the 1st of March. Email from the village hall asking, well, it was on behalf of the local conservation and archaeological sort of community via the History Society, isn't it? Where they want to do some sort of public meeting to get people involved.
Trevor was talking about that last meeting,
Yes.
where you got
Yeah.
invited to one of the
Yeah.
meetings, yeah.
So because there's been a lot of archaeological digs in Thurston and they've been finding all sorts of interesting real old relics, they believe that the whole area is probably quite a rich seam of interest, and they want to start and explore people having their own little trenchy in their gardens, see what they can dig up. So they want to do a little meeting to tell people about it, but obviously they're an unfunded local body. The History Society have said that they're happy to support it, but they've got very limited funds, and they were just asking whether, because it is the community interest, whether the parish council, both Thurston and ourselves, would be interested in popping a little bit of money into a pot so that they can hire the village hall to do a community meeting to engage with people.
This is a working group style thing that's happening with this, and the dig plan and everything, it's something that's going to happen and then be done. So I don't think it's going to have future requests for funding like this. It's going to be Yeah,
It's a one-off.
it is a one-off, exactly.
We got involved in the metal detectors the other week up at,
Could have been,
up in on the field up top.
could have been, but I don't think
Hundreds of
so,
them
the
walking around.
tends to.
And that's not what they're doing. Generally, I think from the gist that I got from talking from Tim up at Felton Hall is that they want to have set sites all over the village where they're going to do your own dig under the supervision of an archaeologist. And it's a cubic metre, so it's a metre square and you go a metre deep and you have to dig it with a trowel. So, yeah, I've signed my kids up for it. It's going to take them a whole weekend. So that's the gist that I get from it.
You want a little bit of
It's just literally to see whether it was prepared for the
Trowel.
With a trowel.
rent.
So it's got JCB in it,
And refreshments.
What was that, sorry?
It was just to get rent and potentially refreshments for a public meeting. It wasn't to get, so 16,000 travels and
No, I know that.
overalls
Yeah.
for everybody.
But I think it would be good to support a meeting.
Hit 16 of
I
April.
remember that.
Alright, that means 16 of April for the meeting.
So we're
So are they just asking,
asking,
are they asking for a donation or are they asking for some?
they're asking for a donation.
To support the funding to pay for rent refreshments at the time of the current community project.
Do we still have a budget for charitable giving?
Donations.
Is it just justifiable requests going to do something for the village? I'm happy with that.
Is there up 500, I think?
500.
I mean, we're not asking anywhere near that sort of amount.
No.
You know, £50.
£50?
£50 as well cover it as itself.
If we were going to rent the first week, we £75. For the room, I don't know how much is the room.
It's about
It's £20 an hour for non-regular users, but because the village hall are looking on it favourably, they'll probably do it again.
But if we could rent it on their behalf, then.
Yeah, so if we £50 we get them
5
5
hours.
hours.
So if we say we'll pay their room rental,
Yeah.
then we
I think that's
book it under us if necessary.
Mm.
Yeah,
I'm happy with
does that
that.
sound reasonable?
So you can scan
You want me to pay for that one?
Yep.
Yeah.
£50 for the archaeology
Room rental. Room rental.
room rental. Is that correspondence done? Planning number 14.
What's it, it's only the first page, isn't it?
Mm.
It's only the first page. And what's it?
Second, Chris, sorry.
It's only the first page.
It's not all 4 pages, whatever it is.
Do you have anything to discuss? Planning
Sorry?
We're talking about the...
I think this is what Michael was here for.
I think the plan and stuff in Felton's very routine, but the one at High Farm's a bigger issue, isn't it?
I think it's come up now because it's such a long application. Don't know, Mike, do you want to say anything on the?
Well, I'm really here to, I mean, I've emailed Gemma and yourself and Jacqueline with the latest objections I've put into the planning officer. For those that haven't been maybe not involved in it, last year Hyde Park Farm asked to put a grass dryer up for drying paper pulp, and it's a follow-up to an application they submitted in 2023 that then withdrew. They resubmitted it last year, and to satisfy all the ecology requirements, they submitted with it an air quality assessment. Now, to explain what this thing is, it's largely like a big tumble dryer with a wood burner on one end and a feeder that feeds paper pulp in, and then it's like a big tumble dryer dries it, and the emissions are driven off through a stack. Now, there was a report submitted by an engineering consultancy in Stockport called Fitchner, and when I went through the air quality assessment, I noticed all they'd assessed was the emissions from the wood burner, and the feedstock emissions just weren't assessed, they weren't even considered, and they hadn't submitted a chemical analysis of the feedstock. So I've then done a lot of digging, and it turns out that paper pulp, you can have paper pulp and paper crumb, and one of the main concerns the Environmental Agency have is the ink content, because there's lots of metals like chromium, there's a lot of serious metals in it. There's also things like arsenic in it, and depending on the type of process that the paper mill uses, it can have varying amounts of sulphur content, which is very odorous. So the fact that they put in an air quality assessment that didn't consider that rang alarm bells for me. So then I wrote an objection identifying all those issues. They've then come back with a revised air quality assessment that has supposedly answered my questions, but the short answer to their claims is that the only filters that this thing will have are particulate filters, and that will extract the metals. Now, the paper pulp can have anything between moisture content of between 60 and 30%. So, given that it's ink, it will dissolve into the water, which will then be driven off in the dryer and emitted through the stack. So, I've answered the latest letter that I've put in has answered those queries and basically pulled their report to bits. What I was also concerned at is that the applicant never supplied, as well as not supplying a chemical composition of the material, is not supplied the moisture content, and is not supplied the source of the paper mill where it's getting it from. And I managed to get a chemical analysis of the paper pulp from the Four Stones mill at Hexham, and that's how I'm confident there's a significant metal content, if that is his source of feedstock. The Essity mill at Prudder, from what I can understand, is they've just built a multi-million-pound recycling plant where they will burn their paper pulp waste in a combined heat and power plant. So there's very little material waste that comes out of there, and what it does is goes to landfill. So it's concerning the lack of information and the reluctance to publish information with this planning application that's got me concerned. The engineering report, the second one that addressed my comments, also claimed that there would be no liquid runoff from the thing. Now, what limited information we had on it, there was a cooler, and they've admitted this, at the base of the flue, and also stated that the moisture throughput of the dryer is 10 tonne an hour. So they've said everything will go up the stack, and I'm going, that's rubbish, because the purpose of the cooler is rather like your condensing tumble dryer at home. It's to extract the moisture before it goes into the atmosphere. And they've not said where that water or how they want to. They denied that water source of polluted water will exist. Never mind how they're going to handle it. They've also got a storage area up at the farm in one of the barns as part of the proposal. And if you've got a moisture content in a feedstock of 60%, you're going to get a lot of moisture running off from that, which begs the question, where will that drain to? And they haven't specified the exit point of the drains. Now, talking to John Moore, who used and Rita used to farm up there, they're on a septic tank, so it doesn't go into the mains, and presumably the septic tank discharges into the river. So there's some significant environmental concerns. Also, there'd be an ash content, and they've then said it will only produce half a tonne a day of ash, but the fuel consumption is 3 tonne an hour of wood, which is going to generate an awful lot of ash. And then it's the question of what you're going to do with the ash, which will also be polluted with the same metallic elements. Now, the likelihood is they would want to spread that on the fields, and runoff again could potentially pollute the river. The other main point that I was going to make was the environment, using the Environmental Protection Officer of the Council has been, throughout this process, has been defending a line of approving the planning application and then getting the environmental permits afterwards. Now, that's the Environmental Agency have twice submitted there saying that they would prefer that the environmental permits were applied for in parallel with the planning application. And the Environmental Protection Officer of the Council has ignored that advice, but is just saying they will use an environmental permitting arrangement. Well, the alternative to that, if they don't, depending on the amount of quantity, the quantity of feedstock they feed in, they could use something called a low risk waste position. Now, for paper pulp, that allows them to process 7,500 tonnes a year and store 300 tonnes on site at High Park Farm. Now, if you want to process 7,500 tonnes, it's difficult to put a definite figure on who regulates the environmental conditions on that. When I've spoken to people that are in the field, this is their profession, what they advise me is there's no clear advice where that responsibility lies, but it normally lies with the council rather than the environmental agency. The environmental agency can be called in if there's a dispute or you want to prosecute somebody, but the actual day-to-day operation will be overseen by the council. So, which will be the Environmental Protection Officer. So, it's then in his hands to say, well, yes, he can grant them this low waste position. So, that means there is no direct oversight. There is no monitoring. There's no soil sampling. There's no air sampling. There's basically no control. The other thing is it allows them to process 7,500 tonnes. Now, with the latest document that came in from Fitch now, they said the applicant hadn't specified the HGV traffic that would be required to service the plan. But there was enough data there that then I could do a backward calculation and work out the lorry traffic. So 7,000, to process 7,500 tonnes burning 3 tonnes an hour of wood, and then that would, depending on the moisture content of the feedstock, that would allow them to produce about 4,000 to 5,000 tonnes of animal bedding. So that would then, so looking at the HGV traffic, depending on what size of lorry you're using, a 44-tonne lorry, I worked out would be using a 41-week, 41-week year. That would generate 24 HGV journeys per week of a 44-tonne truck. And they're proposing to send those along the C117, the Witherington Road. So I don't think you get a 44-tonne truck along there. So, so I did it for a 24-tonne truck, and I worked out that that was about 44 journeys a week. And what I should also add is that when I've looked at other animal bedding producers, they've combined that. It's very often combined with other materials such as sawdust or wood chips and things like that. So using that plant would be very much under capacity, producing 7,500 tonnes using paper pulp, which gives him the option that he could dry wood chips and things like that, which would push up the traffic even further. So the HGV traffic is a significant issue that plant could generate, as well as the pollution aspects.
Do you know what the weight limit is on the Guy's Hands Bridge?
No idea.
Because you wouldn't get an Arctic over there.
No. So what he said in his planning statement is that was one of the reasons he withdrew the original planning application, because Thurston objected to the lorries going through Thurston village.
Yeah.
Now this time he's proposed to use the C117, the Witherington Road, but he said that he will supply farms in the north of England and south of Scotland. So, and given we've only 2 paper mills in Northumberland as well, how are you going to control the lorries coming along the C117 rather than coming up the A1 through Thurston? So there's no control aspects, and also if they're feeding farms to the north of Felton, the odds are you might get the lorries coming through Felton. So that's basically the background to it. Now, if you go onto the planning portal, you'll see the objections I've put in. I should also say that we've paid for our own air quality expert to do a peer review of the Fitchner report, and he backed up what I've said as well. And he's also raised the issue again that they've not provided a certified chemical analysis of the feedstock that they've used to produce this air quality assessment. So there's some strange things going on in terms of withholding information and not being open and honest in the planning application. So I really just wanted to bring it to your attention, and I know you put an objection in, but I did pass on the same emails to Thurston Parish Council, and Lisa said she would email it round all the councillors to decide whether they wanted to put in a further objection. But my particular concern was as well, just to make, I didn't want to sound like I'm a lone voice down at Malsoff. Other residents are, supporting what I've done. But also there's a lack of information in the village, because there was some other dubious methodology, I should say, of when they did the air quality assessment. Ironically, they only did it out to 500 metres, and Molsoff is 580 metres away. But they had circles on the map for 1 kilometre and 2 kilometres, but they never assessed anything out that far. But if you get to 2 kilometres, you start hitting, you know, the edge of the village, and it brings in the school and things like that. So,
But even the river at the bottom, you know, below the farm, the river's running along there.
yeah, I mean, it's the visual thing as well. I mean, they've said, their own report says the plume on certain, depending on weather conditions, could be up to 200 metres high. So you would see the plume from here.
Could also be in the Cuthbert Valley and the river.
Yeah. And, you know, so, I mean, I've spoken to Trevor, well, Trevor's obviously, because Trevor's on the planning committee, so Trevor can't really give much away. But I have spoken to it, and I have sent the reports to Trevor, and also I've copied in Jeff Watson as well, because he's covering for Glenn Sanderson in this matter. He's recused himself because the lorries go past his house, I believe. So they're aware of it, but it was really just a case of, well, does the parish council want to, you know, send another message to Trevor, you know, expressing some form of concern. I should also say the latest update I had today was the planning meeting for the 20th of March is cancelled, and the next planning meeting will be the 20th of April, but there's now an expiry date on the planning application of the 29th of April, so it's likely to come up at the April planning meeting.
So is that the committee meeting, is it? What?
Yeah, that's the planning committee
Right.
meeting, yeah, sorry.
Originally, this was all to be.
That's it, but Richard's put in a good objection on it, and we have discussed with him if he gets any notification on the committee meeting, then we've got that. I know I'm not getting any capacity to put in any further objection, and then there would also be a way for, if it goes to that committee meeting, there would be a way.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm off to Australia next week, so
Yeah.
I can't go either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably plan that. in
So
purpose.
what did you say it was?
We think it'll come up on the 20th of April.
It won't be the 20th.
Yeah,
April,
that's what I'm
it's a
thinking,
Sunday.
that's Easter Sunday.
Is it?
Yeah.
Be-
Right, okay,
That's
well,
what
it'll be
Well, they didn't really
around,
do it, so it'll be.
Yeah.
it's always around the 20th, if I'm
Be
right.
18th
Yeah,
or
so
20th.
it's classically in the middle of the school holidays. And this is the issue that I have as well, because they give you such short notice when the meeting actually is, and invite to go and speak, because I have to take unpaid leave to attend, which is, and also can't get leave unless I put it in 2 weeks in advance. Otherwise, I'm totally there. I think I'm happy to have another chat with Richard, and I'm happy to message Trevor again, saying that we've got ongoing concerns, if everyone's happy with
I mean, they
that.
have rejigged what they originally put in for that planning, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have,
Changed.
Well, just keep doing it together.
yeah, and I think that's the thing.
Okay. Do you want to put it to a vote in whether we submit another thing? It's just someone who needs to then take that on board with them if they vote for it.
Well, yeah.
So change the planning application since our original objection,
Mhm.
and I think we'll update
Yeah,
our
we do
objection.
need to.
Otherwise it looks like we've told on the wayside.
Yeah,
or somehow sort of are appeased by the.
yeah, by the changes to the
Yeah.
planning
So I think we should just review the
objections.
Okay.
I should also mention, Gemma, that we have Lichfields as well that are helping us. So Lichfield planning consultants, I believe, will
Right.
have somebody speaking for us,
Right.
you know, for
Okay.
the residents.
Mhm.
So, you know, hopefully that will, you know, I'm told they're good. I'm
Yeah.
no expert. It's first time
I
I've ever
think-
got
I
involved
think
in it. It's first-
From talking elsewhere, there has been quite considerable objection
Yeah.
to this. I think, but it's like you say, we don't have proper councillor representation because Glenn's had to step away from it, because obviously it would have been a conflict of interest for him to be doing that. I'm happy to pursue it, but as I say, it is limited what we can do and things. But we can put an additional objection in, a renewed one based on what is going on now, and I'll have a chat with Richard about it and see if he can do anything. If I adopt him as a non-councillor member, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I didn't want to be, you know, it's me that's been sort of ploughing a lot
You have
of
to.
input into it.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to sound as though I was a lone voice. That was where I was coming from.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I've burnt a fair few hours on this.
I can imagine.
Very comprehensive report, very comprehensive report.
Well, we can submit as a parish council,
Mhm.
you know, thoughts from residents and a group of residents,
Yeah.
and you submit on your behalf. So if you have specific things that you'd like us to mention, you know, put that to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we're here for.
Okay, if we can show hands on whether we want to submit a further objection.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Can I just raise a point since you were discussing that in public? Is there some reason why individual parish councillors haven't objected?
I did for the last one, but I just haven't got round to it this time.
Well, wouldn't that help?
Well, yes, but we just discussed it now, so yes.
Well, it's an open question to all of you.
It's the individual's right to do whatever they want. We don't have to compare it here.
Your chair's just said to Mike, if Mike wants to put forward things, he would forward it. Why isn't the chair prepared to object?
It's entirely up to him if he does or not.
I'm just asking the
It's
question.
irrelevant to you.
I'm just asking the question.
It was me that said that.
Vice Chair.
Okay.
I think as I'll reiterate what Chris said, it's down to the individuals whether they wish to do an individual one or be part of the parish council objection.
Or do both.
Or do both. Okay.
If you need some key points to put in, I can write a short email, a lot shorter than my reports. I'll just write a few key points for you.
We're in conversation now, so.
Okay. Who do I email to? Email to Jackie? Okay.
Yes. That's the planning, I think. Items for the next agenda. By 4th of March. One of the things I will mention to you just now is we are maybe it'll be resolved by the next agenda, but at the moment I doubt it. We're
Sorry, can I suggest, is that a mystery because it's the 10th of March already?
No, it says it's things that came in after the 4th of March are being automatically moved forward to the next agenda.
Got a bit of an issue, still struggling to find an internal auditor. They're either busy or are aware of our situation in Felton and don't wish to anticipate. I've also spoken to a previous internal auditor and he's still not willing to come back and help. Didn't quite get down on my knees and beg yet, but yeah, there is. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll just keep hitting the list that we're working through.
That list is exhausted now.
That's exhausted now. So we're then down to ones that are.
I did speak to another parish clerk, and she suggested that failing individuals we can maybe approach actual accountancy firms, but then it's like a site.
Yeah.
But there's been all the parishes that are just to us with the SLCC, gone through that with nobody. So maybe we can put a professional, you know, can promote it in the local rags and do a little bit in your local papers.
On Facebook.
Is NCC in position to assist that on there? Or have you already done that? And then it-
No, they said that
They said
not.
no, they don't provide a service. There are numerous, like any of the other ones on the register, sounds like the list that I looked, do by post. I don't quite know how it would work, but we can look at some of them as well and see. But then it's.
But what happens if we can't find someone?
I don't know. We'll find out if we can. Do they have any skills to be an auditor?
It's not finding somebody, keeping somebody from
No,
the
I
problem.
think officially, it doesn't get the accountant to do it. You don't have to have any qualifications, as in, you know, like most of the chartered student of accountancy. But
And you can live within the village. Obviously, yeah.
Previous one then.
I'll find out the definitions there and what happens if they're appointed, and I'll see if I can give you and get some quotes.
Yeah.
So I think so we know what that is.
At least what we'll say is with our external auditor, we do have some money in that funding for audit. So even if that
We
doesn't,
need to spend it.
we need to spend it in a different way, we can do. So yeah, it's just something to be aware of. We are working on it. Date of next meeting 7th April, which I submit my apologies right now. I will 7th, I think 7:15. I'll be sleeping then in Florida. So
I might be in Cambridge.
Yeah, I'll close the meeting at 21:12. That's one of those.
Where is the gavel?
It's one of those.
I have a